Hi friends, today I'd like to share how to train Stable Diffusion with your own photographs. So you can make self-portraits or portraits of loved ones. You can even use a 3D model and make beautiful creative portraits. I'm going to rent a GPU, so if you don't have a powerful computer, you can still use it. I will admit it's not very user-friendly at the moment, so I will do the best I can to include helpers and to show you what can go wrong and what you need to do to overcome it. And please just follow step by step. I'm sure we can make it work together. So before we start and before we rent a GPU, we will need to download Stable Diffusion model, and best time to do it is now before we actually rented a GPU, so we don't have to pay for it. And to do that, you can go to my website chris.art, and here I created a link to helpers. You can go here and find how to train Stable Diffusion on your photos. Click on it. And here in number 5, harder ways, you will see this link, huggingface.com. And if you don't have an account at huggingface.co, you can create it. It's free, and it's a website where they have a Stable Diffusion model. So I already have an account at Hugging Face, so when I click on this link, it will take me directly to this page. If you don't have an account, you will have to create an account first, and then you'll be here. So here you have two models. One is 2 gigabytes and one is 7 gigabytes. And you can download either of them. Both of them work quite well. If you would like to experiment with a full model, it'll just take more time to download and to upload it on Google Drive. So for the sake of this tutorial, we will just download first one. It's actually not 2 gigabytes, it's 4 gigabytes. I was wrong. So it's 4 gigabytes and it'll take us about 2 minutes. It's still faster than the full one. And while it's downloading, you need to go to models and to Google Drive. And if you don't have a Google Drive account, you can create one. You can create a Gmail account and Google Drive is a part of it, and by default it will give you 15 gigabytes of space, and you can create a folder here to organize your stuff, and then you will just wait until this model downloads. It's just 45 seconds left, and we are going to wait and then just drop it here. So now the model is downloaded on our computer, and we can just drag and drop it to our Google Drive. And it will take some time, depending on the account you have. If you have a free account, it just may take a little bit longer, and that's why I suggested you to do this before actually renting RunPod. So I will leave my computer and I will wait until this model uploads to my Google Drive. So finally it got uploaded on my Google Drive, and what we need to do is right click on this and do get link, and it will create your link, and it says restricted, and just make it anyone with the link and copy link. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create a notepad file, and we will just paste it here. So this is our Google Drive address, and then we will go back to the helper website, helper on my website, and we will copy this 2 lines, and again go back to the notepad and paste them there. So over here after ID we will copy this, so make sure you don't copy anything else. So it's this long value that is after this thing, and it will look differently on your Google Drive, but it's basically like right before this last thingy over here. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. So you copy this and then you paste it over here, and this is just this value, and then you can delete this Google Drive link and just keep this 2 lines for the future. And you can save it or don't, but keep it open probably, and then you can start the process, and we will return to this step later on. So first of all, please go to RunPod.io and let's sign up for the renting GPU. By the way, I'm going to include all those links at the description of this tutorial, so you don't have to remember those. So first, please read and agree to the terms of service, and we press continue, and here we are. So it will ask us to go to Secure Cloud and go to Community Cloud, but actually first thing I recommend you to do is to put some money on your account, because if you don't, it will probably keep showing you a mistake, an error. So I would put $25, so you can even put like $10. I found that this is rather cheap renting service compared to Google Collapse and other places. So I will do play with card, and you will see your credit card window. Now I'm going to not show you my card, but you know how to fill this form. So just fill it up and press pay. And it will take some time to process, but then you will go back to RunPod. And here it will say your funds are on the way and are usually available within the minute. Usually it's available pretty much right away. And here we go. We can either go to Secure Cloud or Community Cloud. Let's try Security Cloud first. So the difference between Security Cloud and Community Cloud is that in Secure Cloud you actually rent a physical GPU, a machine, but of course those get run out really fast. We need something with at least 24 gigabyte VRAM. So right now we don't really have any available computers like that. I also have to say that sometimes when this machine is available and I press to rent it, other people rent it so fast that it may not work. So let's go to Community Cloud. The difference is that in Community Cloud you usually have quite a lot of machines, but there is a risk that while you train your model, something may happen and the machine may disappear. It usually doesn't happen that often, and I found that sometimes you lose your computer when you don't actually train anything, but it's worth the risk. So what we are going to do, we are going to train our model, we are going to download our model. So if you lose this GPU, it's okay, you can just rent another one, upload your trained model and continue working on it. I know it's not ideal, but unfortunately lots and lots of people are using this service, so I found Community Cloud, you'll have much bigger chance to actually have a computer. So here, let's see, I love renting this A5000. It has 24 gigabytes of RAM. It does say that it's low availability, so we may not get it, but let's at least try. So here it's very important that you first select the template and you select RunPod Stable Diffusion, and then you write 60 gigabytes, and it's total disk 120 gigabytes. If you do it in a different order, if you first run 60 and then select a template, unfortunately it will change back to 2020. You may not notice it, press continue, and then it will not work because there won't be enough disk space. So please do it. First select the template and then select those numbers. And let's press continue. Here you need to press deploy on demand, because then it won't interrupt and it will actually keep that GPU running. Again, sometimes it doesn't guarantee that, but it is definitely the best option. And press deploy. So here you will see my pods, GPU Cloud. It will take a little bit of time to get your GPU, maybe a couple of minutes, but let's go to my pods. And here it is. Here is your GPU running. And if you press this, you will see it's here. So if it hasn't been rented yet, like sometimes you will see the process bar and then you'll need to wait a little bit. But when it's rented and it's here, it will look like this. And here you can just press connect. Here you choose connect to Jupyter Lab. And here we are, we rented a RunPod. If at any point while you're renting something doesn't work, for example, you chose a GPU, you filled everything up, and while you were rented some kind of error comes out, then it means someone else managed to rent it first, and it's just you just have to try to rent another one. It happens sometimes, but as you could see, we did it successfully from first attempt. It doesn't always happen like this, and if it doesn't, just try again. So here we will choose Python 3 and we'll press on it, and here we are. If you're not a coder, that may feel a bit intimidating, but trust me, it's really easy, and I will do all I can to make it as simple as possible. So you will need to write a line of code here, but I made a helper for you. If you go to my website chris.art, and there is a helpers menu, and here find how to train Stable Diffusion on your photos on a remote GPU. It probably will look a little bit different because I'm planning to do more helpers and more tutorials, but you just find this one, you press on it, and you will have this document. So the very first one, you just copy this line. I had a tiny problem with my browser, so I had to open it again, but here we are. So to paste this line, we press Ctrl V on PC or Command V on Mac, and we press this button Run. And this will clone, this will basically take Dreambooth Stable Diffusion from this place, GitHub on internet, and it will put it in our folder. So you can see this new folder, Dreambooth. And we will wait until this becomes a number. So when you see it's a star, it means that it's running, and when it becomes a number, it means that it finished. So now we can go here, and as you can see, I made it a little bit bigger so we can see everything. And you can go to this folder and find Dreambooth, RunPod, Dreambooth. And here we are. This is where we are going to run certain blocks to train our model. And I know it looks intimidating because it's code, and if you're not a coder, that can look scary, but don't worry, I will go through all of them and I'll make it as easy as it's possible. So first thing we are going to do is we will select this just by clicking on it, and you will see this blue line over here, and we will press Run, this button Run. And as you can see, as I mentioned before, there is a star, which means it's running, and when it will change into a number, it means it finished running. While this is happening, we are going to use our time to work on our images. So I made this folder on my desktop, let me just find it, called Chris Photos, and I put all the photos here. I just took them from my Facebook. They are all different sizes, as you can see, and we do need a very particular size, 512 by 512. And to do it really quickly, there is this amazing website called beerman.net. It's completely free of charge, and you can just drag all your photos to this website, and here they are. And you will write width 512 by 512, and you can go through them and you can just resize them. This is so cool. You can kind of move like this and make sure it's like the right size. And as you can see, I chose images or like close-ups of my face. I also chose images where there is a little bit of my body, and I chose a few full body images. And I recommend you doing the same, and just make sure that you include all of you in those like resizing squares. And when you are done with this, you can press Save as Zip, and it will just go, in my case it goes to Downloads folder, and here it is. Here I will just extract all. Here it is, extract, so it puts itself over here, and then here they are. They're all 512 by 512, but this is not everything you need to do. So I'll put them to this folder, I'll make another folder. You don't have to do it like I do it, it's just easier for me to do it this way. I will create another folder and I will paste all those images I just created. And as you can see, all of them are JPEGs. And the thing is, we need PNG for the Dreambooth. I don't know, maybe they'll change it in future, and maybe you'll be able to use any formats, but right now it has to be 512 PNGs. So we will go to another website, which is called iloveimage.com, JPEG to image. Again, I have those links on the description of this tutorial, you don't have to remember them. But here you can say select JPEG and go to that folder that you already changed sizes, and you can select those, and here we are, convert to PNG, and I'll just make this smaller so you can see, because of me you can't really see it. And I'll say convert images. And then download converted images. And all of that again went to my downloads folder on my computer. Here it is, I love images convert, and again I will extract them. Here they are. So now if you look at these images, they are all PNGs, and they are all 512, 512. So those are perfect images for our training. And I'm just going to put them to that same folder. I'll create another one. I'll call it PNGs 512 by 512. Again, you can name those folders as you like, and just have them over here. So the important thing is that it has to be an even number, as I told you before, so you can check it here. So there are 20 items, so you can have 20, 18, 16. I wouldn't probably have less than 16, but if that's all you've got, you can try it. So those are the photos, and now we can go back to our Dreambooth, and as you can see, this build environment finished working because we see the number over here. So now is the time for us to download Stable Diffusion model to our environment over here. So you remember we downloaded the model from Hugging Face, and then we put it on Google Drive, and then we made the link in Notepad. So now is the time to finally use it. So over here we will press here to create a new line over there, and then we will open that Notepad that we created at the beginning, and we'll copy and we will paste it, Ctrl V over here, and we will press run. So this is going to copy our model really fast, even though it's 4 GB, it's copying so fast. If you would just drag this model here, it would take probably an hour, and of course you are spending money renting GPU, and also an hour is a long time when this can just be done in maybe 40 seconds or maybe 1 minute maximum. So we will wait a little bit while this is happening, and when you can see it over here, it's not finished yet, but it's downloading. If you chose to download the bigger model, the one that was 7 GB, it will be that model over here. So we will just wait until it's finished, and we will need to rename it. Just a little bit more. Okay, it's done now, and you will know that it's done by just seeing this name change and have this CKPT at the end of it. And depending which model you chose to download, that will be the name. And if you right click and press rename, you will need to rename it to model. and press enter. So this is the model, and this part is done now, and you don't need to press any of those parts, and you can just continue on the next step. And we will go to the helper again, and we will scroll all the way down, and we will look at helpful websites with celebrity lookalike application. So we are going to press this, and it will take us to this website, and we'll upload one of our photographs that we just made. Which one? I don't know. You can choose any photograph, but I probably will choose this one, and it will analyze you, and it will tell you which celebrity you look like. And I suggest you remember this name. For me, it's Anya Taylor-Joy. I don't really think I look like her, but the thing is, the way Stable Diffusion and Dreambooth work, it will take celebrity as a starting point, and then it will change it using your photographs. So probably this Anya Taylor-Joy will be a good model, and like she has a little bit similar features to mine. It doesn't have to be precisely same, so don't worry if the celebrity doesn't look like you. You could probably choose any of those celebrities and it would still work, because it will retrain it anyway, but it works best if you use a celebrity as a starting point. So for me, it's Anya Taylor-Joy. So I'll go back to Dreambooth, and I will go to training, and I will give my project a name. So I would call it maybe Chris. This thing you only need it because you will be able to identify which model is which. And then where the token, I would change it to Anya Taylor-Joy. It doesn't really matter if you use capital letters or not, but I like writing it as one word. And here we will use person. And over here, so max training steps, you will take the number of your photographs and you'll multiply it by 101. So, and now you just go here, regularization images. You also skip this, but you do download pre-generated. You click over here, make sure this is the blue line and it's this download pre-generated regulation images, and press run. So again, it will take some time. It downloads 1503 images. Those images, they are like images that make your model like more variation to it. It's really a great thing compared to like just using only your images. And here it says upload your training images. So you see there is a name, training images. We can do it while this is still running. You press here with right click, you do new folder here, and you call it, we need to go all the way down because this is the copy images. Here, training images. Rename training images. Sometimes it happened once before, but sometimes they rename those folders. I really hope it won't happen again, but just make sure you check it's called training images here and you name this folder training images. Now you can enter this folder and go to your Chris photos. Make sure you are using PNGs 512, 512, and it's an even number. So you do this and you copy them over here. You don't have to rename them, it's going to work just fine. And again, you don't need to run all of this because you just did it yourself. Because otherwise you would have to put each file online somewhere and put this link over here, and I find it so tedious, and it's much faster and much easier to just create a folder and put those images here. So, and let's check what's happening with our regularization images. So here we go. Yeah, it finished running. You can see it finished running because there is a number, not a star. So, which means we can just go and start training. So, if you haven't done this before, you can name the project. You make sure that you use the number of your images and and multiply it by 101. I mean, I actually multiplied it. It's 2020. And now you use class word. You can use man, person, woman, but I found that with person it works better. So I use person. And then the token name is the name of a celebrity you look alike. Even if you don't look alike, trust me, I tried different celebrities, even those who don't look like me at all, just an experiment, and it would train it and change it in a way that it looked very much like me. And here this thing is selected, make sure there is a blue line, and you press run. Now there are two things that may happen. First thing, it may run and it will take probably around an hour or 40 minutes to train the model. Or in my case, usually it doesn't really work right away. And when it doesn't work right away, I will show you what to do. But let's see. Sometimes it just runs and sometimes it doesn't. Let's see. So you see it started working and now it's just calculating something, and here it is. Well, I am very happy it didn't work this time because I can explain to you what you need to do in such situation. So if it says runtime error, CUDA out of memory, if it doesn't happen to you and it just runs smoothly and it just finishes, well, good for you. For me, this runtime error happens every single time. It says CUDA out of memory, and in this case, what you need to do is you go to File, you do New, and you press Terminal. It will create this terminal window, and it's a command line, but don't be afraid. Again, you can go to Chris Art Helpers, and I made this troubleshooting CUDA out of memory run terminal. You need to copy this ps-aux. I remember this by now by heart, but just so if you don't remember, you can copy paste it from there and you just press enter. So it will show you all the processes that are running, and there are these 3 processes that are the reason why CUDA is out of memory, and it is relauncher and those 2 processes of web UI and web UI. So you may have different numbers of this, so make sure those first numbers are the numbers you need to kill it. So you are going to kill those processes, so you'll write kill 11 then make sure it's that web UI. If you have a different number, you need to write that different number. So for me it's 26 and 28. 28, and I press enter. So if I'll do this PS RX again, as you can see, there are no processes like that. And now we can go back to Dreambooth where we just were, and we had this runtime error, and we can just run it again. You don't even have to go all the way back. You can just press this and just wait. And again, there is this star, which means it's training. And hopefully this time will work. For me, this is what I need to do every single time when I run this to train a model. And it just every single time there is this mistake, and I have to go to terminal and do this. And then when it starts doing this, this means it starts training. So you can leave your computer for like 40 minutes and just let this happen. I wouldn't leave it for longer, because as you remember, we rented a community GPU. Even though it's quite cheap and you could potentially leave it for the whole night, but what is going to happen if this thing finishes and you don't use it for several hours? You will just lose that GPU, and you won't be able to continue and to use it for generating images. But again, I am going to leave my computer now, and I will return to you when this is finished. So, alright, here it is. Our model reached 100%, and it would say training complete, mark training steps reached, or we blew up. And I think this is a little bit not very helpful message, because it may work, it may not, but usually when it says training complete and it's 100%, and you make sure that the number of steps you chose is exactly the number of steps that basically both of those numbers are the same, because if those numbers are different, then you may have to change that number, but it is the number of photos multiplied by 101. But that may be the reason this may not work. It's one of those troubleshooting things. But if it's complete, like it's here, then what you need to do is you need to go here, copy and name the checkpoint file. And this is one of the times where you will also need to troubleshoot. So when you select this and you press run again, it will try to download your trained model to this file, to this destination, and sometimes it doesn't work. Let's see. It says download your trained model file from trained models, and let's see if that worked. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I can see that the problem was probably solved, because in previous versions you had to write the name of the model here, but it seems like they solved it, and here it is, trained models in Dreambooth Stable Diffusion. If you press here, you will have this model, and this is Chris. You remember the file name, the project name we gave it, Chris. So if you gave a different name, say your name, it will be here. It's the name of the project name. I will just spend extra time showing you what it means. See, project name Chris, it's over here. And the reason why it's, I think, important is because when you download this model, and I suggest you download it right away, because you will be able to use it in future. because when you quit this RunPod, it will delete everything. Unfortunately, you have to run it every single time, but next time you will not have to train it. You can just use the model you already have, and I'll show how to do it in my next tutorial. But while it's downloading, you can get busy with prompting and testing if it works. So here we are, the most fun part: generate images with your trained model. We are going to replace this name with the name of that celebrity, Anna Taylor-Joy. And for you, use the name of the celebrity that you chose to train your model, and press run. And let's see. So when this thing will work, you will see the results in output. So here is outputs, and if you go in, make sure it's Dreambooth Stable Diffusion outputs, that is the outputs you are selecting, because there are different outputs, and this is the one where you can see your images. And here they are. There shall be 4 images, so we'll wait a little bit until the last image is generated. Yes, here it is. Here are 4 images, and you can select them and press download and show in folder. And here they are. Let's see. It kind of looks like me. It's not always the best result right away, especially with that prompt that is like the first one. But some of them look, oh, this one looks really cool. This one looks like me. Yeah, it does look like me. Well, sometimes, well, those are previous images I generated, but let's see, let's look at this one. Here it is. It's kind of like, looks like me, but this is not the best prompt. It's just the default prompt, and what I recommend you doing, testing with it is fine because you just looked if it's working or not, but you can go to a website called lexica.art. You can find this link in the description, and you can search some really cool prompts like elf, and maybe this one looks really cool. Maybe let's look for something like maybe even say elf portrait. Maybe this one. I really like this one. So you can look what kind of portraits it would generate, and you can press copy prompt and go to Dreambooth, and here you can say Anya Taylor-Joy person as, and just replace this part with the prompt, and you can read it to make sure it's fine. Any person as Dungeons and Dragons, Forest Elf character, close-up portrait, dramatic light, dungeon background, focal length, maybe I will correct it like this, painted by Stan Lu, painted by Greg Rutkowski. You see, they use several different styles combined, which I think is the best way to do it, because you are not technically copying one person's style, you are combining and mixing styles, and this way you are getting something completely different. And now let's try to run it. So we again select this, we press run and we wait, and it will add over here when it's ready. So while it's running, I just want to tell you that this is how you can train a model and generate images using RunPod. You can also have Stable Diffusion on your local computer, and for training a model you need a really powerful computer. You need at least 24 gigabytes of video memory, video RAM. But for running Stable Diffusion, I think you only need 4 gigabytes. So what you could do, you could train a model using RunPod, and then you could use it locally. And to be honest, when I use those models locally, the quality is amazing, and you can set up different parameters when you are generating prompts. It's user-friendly because there is a web graphic interface for your Stable Diffusion, but I'll tell you about it in my next tutorial. So for now, just make sure you saved your model, and sometimes it takes a long time to save, sometimes it's really quickly, but right now it says 4 hours. It'll take 4 hours to save. That is a very long time. But you can play here and see what kind of images are generated. Oh, those are absolutely incredible. Look at those. This looks exactly like me. It's so unbelievable, and yeah. Yeah, this one looks like me, and you know, I can see those like lines I have on my forehead. I used to be so like, I used to hate those so much, but now I actually don't mind them at all, because I can see that that is actually me looking at those features of myself. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, and if you have any problems with this environment, Dreambooth and Stable Diffusion, they are changing. So I believe this will probably be current for a few days, maybe a week. But if anything changes, please feel free to ask me questions. I will do my best to respond. And yeah, enjoy creating images.